Nerdrotic.com.
I'm here. I had to title it. Busy beavers we are today. I'm in the middle of recording a video, but we had to stop because it's nooner time. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's nooner time. I don't know. I already saw ducks in there. We don't want to overdo the ducks, but
They can chafe. So I hear.
Really? Yeah. Make it go blind. Make it go blind. So yes, the subject that's going to be the topic of the entire week is DC reboots again. Technically the third in 10 years. Technically, because we had the Snyderverse, then we had the Joss Whedon gobbledygook, and now we have the James Gunn playground. And I'm very, very happy to have this man with me to talk about it because, oh my God, there's a lot to go over. What's up, Chris Gore?
Gary, happy to be here. Always fun to hang out with you and X-Ray Girl. The big news today, Tom Brady retires. I don't think we're going to talk about that for more than 10 seconds, but I thought I would mention it.
Oh, no. Anyway.
Sports?
Yep.
What?
That's it. All right, moving on.
Anyway. Yeah, we're not going to this DC, I've been thinking about it a lot because I'm doing a video on it, and the more I think about it, the worse it gets. It was underwhelming, and there's some stuff that I like for sure in it. I would say there's the good, the bad, and the DOA. It's not even ugly; it's just dead on arrival.
I felt exactly the same way. I was underwhelmed, just watching the initial presentation, which was like this 5-minute video posted on social media. Not a lot of fanfare there. There was a press event, which resulted in all these stories providing more details. But I felt the same way as you, Gary. I listened to a lot of other people talk about it. I listened to it on Tuesday night's main event. A lot of other people commenting, and just the more I think about it, the less I like it. Like, it seems, when we knew with Marvel, right, you had all these individual movies, Thor, Captain America, the first Avenger, Iron Man, leading to what we knew would be the inevitable Avengers, the team up, right? Like, amazing. I don't know where this is going. It seems middling. It seems self-indulgent on James Gunn's part to pick sort of like, and look, I'm not aware of what is it? Creature. What is that one? The Creature Squad. I can't even remember the name, but it's like he's picking an obscure
Creature Commandos.
Creature Commandos. Okay. It's an obscure group for me. Okay. Which I'm sure is like, it's just going to be another. James Gunn has to show that he's capable of doing a movie that isn't a James Gunn movie. This is like Guardians was a lot like Suicide Squad, and Creature Commandos is probably gonna be the same thing.
This is the Suicide Squad universe. I mean, that's what it is. There's 3 Suicide Squad type shows in this.
Yes. This is the thing, is like, I think James Gunn is very good at taking an obscure character, making them likable, relatable, because we don't have a preconceived notion of what that character is, but we do have preconceived notions about what Superman should be or Batman should be. And the fact that he's rushed headlong into, telling Superman and Batman stories that involve families. I don't know, man. Like we're going past like 4 other Robins, right? Isn't it like what? Jason Todd, Dick Grayson. I always forget one whenever I try to list them all.
It's Jason Todd, it's Dick Grayson, Jason Todd,
right?
And Damien, and now my brain is farting, and I've read all the Batman books.
I'm farting on that one.
I hate you.
Sorry, no.
DC dead cut. Tim Drake. God damn it.
Tim Drake.
The senility hits in early. They passed up a bunch of Robins. The Superman title is, I think, the most worrisome. Superman Legacy. So that's usually what you leave behind, right?
Yes.
So it sounds like, well, we're gonna, and he straight up said, we're gonna use these characters to prop up other ones. I'm like, that's what's been going on in Hollywood for 5 years. That's what Marvel has been doing in Phase 4. It's called a bait and switch. So yeah.
I mean, legacy is what you leave behind when something is over, right? A legacy. And that title is, the more I thought about it, the more I thought about it, because I watched the presentation like 3 times, and I thought, one of my other thoughts was, he clearly did not run this by the marketing department, because the pre-prepared statement that James read, he says the word fantastic like 3 times.
And marvelous 3 times.
And marvelous, which I think was like a dig at Marvel, which is
there is 2 definitive passive-aggressive digs at Marvel.
Well, I think they earned those, in my opinion. If I was James Gunn, I'd probably feel the same way. But I'm just disappointed, because I've been going to Comic-Con since '89 was my first one. It wasn't even what it is, right? But all through the '90s and up to the present, never missed a San Diego Comic-Con. There is some Marvel has perfected they put on, it's like a rock concert. It's huge. It's like a concert event when they present, and they're just showing you logos and teasers. There was nothing. Here's some pictures of comic books you may be familiar with, and we're going to make movies based on those. God, I remember when like Zack Snyder just debuted the logo for Batman v Superman, people went nuts. It was awesome, that logo with the 2 logos entwined. And there's just something to a showmanship. And I would have thought that like James Gunn would be aware of that he should have said nothing and then shown something at San Diego Comic-Con. And I think that he jumped the gun, so to speak.
I think firing Henry Cavill pressured them into doing this. That's bottom line. Like the Henry Cavill thing is such a black eye as it stands. I don't want to spoil too much of my video, but as it stands right now, I don't give a shit what changes later. And I know why they're backing these lame duck movies, but as it stands right now, the DCU has Ezra Miller and Amber Heard and no Henry Cavill.
How do you look? Okay, Henry Cavill's difficult.
That doesn't look good. That's bad optics.
He implied that Henry Cavill was difficult to deal with. I think that's the entertainment industry, and that whole dig about we want people that are easy to work with. So the only person missing out of the picture is Henry Cavill. Implying that is kind of
bad optics. It might not be true. I mean, James Gunn came out and said, hey, Henry Cavill has been dicked around, which he has. He called out his own former management, but that's still you don't hear that ever from somebody who's currently working about talking shit about a previous management, although they earned it. They absolutely earned it. Like all the, Zack Snyder fans or not Zack Snyder fans, I think we can all come together under the umbrella that the Warner Brother previous management was garbage, absolute garbage. They were terrible. They fueled all the failures. It was all their fault. And what, you let Zack Snyder finish his vision. Maybe you like it. We don't know. We don't know because we'll never see it. But bringing in Joss Whedon, it was gobbledygook. I still think there's probably a decent David Ayer cut out there, but
Mhm.
All this is like, you can't unmake the soup. It's all done now. It's all freaking done. And you're on your third reboot. And if it wasn't James Gunn, like this thing would, like, I doubt it would even get off the ground. It'd be dead.
And first of all, I personally love James Gunn. I think that he's been brutally honest. I think that the mistake he made was, just trying out comedic material that a lot of people didn't find funny. I thought, in the early days of Twitter, I 100% guarantee there are things that are cancelable offenses that
Oh,
I've said on
dude.
Twitter back in the
Same
day.
here.
Because Twitter was sort of like, I'm going to throw out my first drafts of jokes onto Twitter. And James Gunn did that. But having known him as a person, and by the way, I met him at the St. Louis Film Festival in the late 90s, and one of the nicest, most personable guys you will ever meet. No bullshit. I knew him in the, at the sort of ending days of Attack of the Show when he got hired to do Guardians of the Galaxy. He came to a Christmas party I had. I pretty much think that, like, deep down he's the same guy. What I find distressing is, like a lot of people, he may be caught up in Hollywood and having to play politics and whatnot. But I will say
Oh
this,
yeah, he's got TDS.
yeah, which is unfortunate. I've seen that happen to a lot of people I know. But at the same time, I love his just brutal honesty. He doesn't care. It's almost like he doesn't know how to be an executive, which is actually, to me, which is a good thing.
It is. Hey,
It's a good
like
thing.
in the Suicide Squad, Ratcatcher 2, he made that an interesting character. It would have been normally in this era of Hollywood the most annoying Mary Sue kind of character, and he made her a pretty interesting character.
Mhm.
But that's his strength. I think the biggest concern we all have is, can you make a traditional heroic Superman, the guy who made Brightburn? And I don't think
Right.
so. I prove me wrong, but like James Gunn, nobody deserves the benefit of the doubt in Hollywood. Not after the last 6 years. Not even close.
But I do like the thing that he, on the positive side, right? I don't like the lineup. I don't like the lineup. I don't think it's leading to anything. I don't think we know where it's going. You know what? Zack Snyder, for whatever you thought about the Snyder Cut, it was leading to a confrontation with Darkseid, which I never in my wildest dreams as a kid thought I would ever see those characters portrayed on screen so well. I mean, the one thing you can nitpick a lot of Zack Snyder stuff. Casting, I don't think anybody, maybe with the exception of Ezra Miller, it's really hard to criticize Zack Snyder on the casting. His casting choices of the Holy Trinity, but doesn't even look like we're leading to a Holy Trinity. We're past that era. Is this where they're starting? They're starting in the middle of the story. It's just, and you pointed out right at the beginning of what you were saying, Gary, like this is like the third start for this. Are they going to let him finish? What if he has some bombs? Look, you can excuse the Suicide Squad for not performing as well as it did because of the era in which it was released. Most movie theaters still weren't open.
And they streamed it.
And they streamed it the same day, which is so stupid. That's just going to kill your business. But it's, he said story. That's the thing I love. It's like, if you could focus on something, he said, we're focused on story. And he even kind of a little dig at Marvel. I love when he was talking about how, these scripts, they have to be done before you start shooting, not like this cobbled together. And look, reshoots, pickups, fine. They've done them on every Star Wars movie. Like, you need an insert shot of a hand pushing a button, fine. But like the mess that was Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, and like, this is why Marvel's in the situation it's in. This is why people have Marvel fatigue. It's the stories aren't solid, and you're focusing on less than C-list characters at this point.
I saw somebody in the TMNE chat put out, I think it was their chat, put up that this is equivalent to Marvel Phase 1 being Iron Man, the Eternals, Shang-Chi, Captain Marvel, and Captain America. And I could not agree more. I agree. That's what it's. You're putting a lot of carts before the horse, including the Authority, dude. Now there is as much cringe as I'd say. There's like 3 things that I would like, hey, I'm down for. Let's go. I'm going to watch them. And then there's 3 things that are these. What are you talking? They're the most 2022 things you can put out. Waller, freaking Waller Paradise Lost, like just just most basic bitch title for Themyscira, the all-female Game of Thrones. Oh my
Right.
God. And
Oh
The
my-
Authority. Now, by itself, it would be fine. I think as an HBO Max series, as an Elseworlds HBO Max series, it would be fine. Incorporate, which they did. I know they did, and I didn't like it, and I don't like it. The Authority is a Justice League knockoff. That's what they are, with a gay Batman and a gay Superman. And you're introducing them before most of the Justice League and the Justice League in your phase 1, in your chapter 1. That makes no sense. None. So I'm not too sure about storytelling. And of course, we can talk about a couple of people who are in that writer's room that he got together. I mean, Drew Goddard's there. Great. That's fantastic. He's behind Daredevil season 1. And I know he's close to James Gunn, and he's legit. Tom King and the writer from The Watchmen, major red flags. Major red flags. And even the showrunner from Doom Patrol. I know a lot of people like Doom Patrol. Thought the first couple seasons were pretty good. Thought it dipped quite a bit in quality after that, because it leaned really into the modern current era. I thought the first season really captured like Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol pretty well, and that's the best thing. The Berlanti, because it's Berlanti. Titans was Berlanti, Doom Patrol was Berlanti, Stargirl was Berlanti. It's all CW with cussing. That's all it was. But Doom Patrol was probably the best of it, aside from Arrow season 1 and 2. Yeah, The Authority is fine. Personally, if you want to go Wildstorm, I would go on Planetary. It's a much better book. Took forever to come out, but it's a much better book. Read Planetary. It's really good. You want to pull up that one article? Not that, I mean, we'll just talk about, because like that is a long article.
Which
The
article?
one where he blasts.
Oh, James Gunn blast.
Yeah. This takes one segment out of their earlier article that we could go over. I mean, we can go over some, but whatever, like, as we say in AA, Chris Gore, whatever you have a burning desire to talk about.
1 second. Coming
Of
up.
course she's alive. She's busy. She's probably been working all night talking about you, X-Ray Girl.
Oh, thank you.
James Gunn blasts past DC leadership. In candid comments, Gunn says DC strategy was previously effed up, and that Superman star Henry Cavill was dicked around. You could scroll down, which he was, including James Gunn, by the way. In the 3 months he's been running DC Studios. Remember, this has all been put together in 90 days. 90 days. DC Studios, he's been running DC Studios with Peter Safran. Writer-director James Gunn has been unusually, and some would say refreshingly, candid for a Hollywood studio executive. His propensity to speak his mind was again on full display earlier this week when he and his partner Peter Safran briefed reporters on their ambitious slate during a presentation on the Warner Brothers lot. Among several choice comments peppered with profanities, I like that, Gunn said previous DC regimes were fucked up, and another point in the presentation insisted that former Superman star Henry Cavill was dicked around by the studio. It was unusual to hear a studio boss speak so openly. God dang it.
Sorry.
There you go. Speak so openly. As a rule, a newly minted studio principal doesn't go around making such rebukes, at least not publicly, in a town ruled by relationships. This is what happens when you put a writer and a director in an executive role, says one rival studio executive. Oh, you mean you put a creative? Well, it's better than some banker. I'll just say that. So what do you think about that? I think it's refreshing too. I still think he's bullshitting us though. I mean, he goes through this whole spiel with the lame duck movies. These are gonna be great, and we're gonna keep everybody. No, you're not. Just come out and say, look, these are lame duck movies. That's what they are.
I don't know why he would begin with this. I mean, look, the Snyderverse began with the birth of Kal-El, right? Like that was so, like that's the birth of the universe, right? We see Superman being born on Krypton. I prefer the Marlon Brando.
The Marlon Brando version, Krypton.
Krypton.
Yes.
But I don't know, like, so it's beginning with, well, we got some old stuff, that old product we have to unload. I mean, they might as well put orange stickers on Aquaman 2 and the Flash, like you do when you see something discounted at Target, right? And we're gonna kind of shoehorn them into the reboot of the universe. I mean, look, James Gunn was dealt this hand, so he kind of has to deal with that. But why not deal with it with a Superman movie with Henry Cavill? And you could even do like a flash forward. You could tell, and I really don't like this attitude that's like against origin stories. I like origin stories, okay? But there's a good way to do it. The Fantastic Four, for practically the first 30 issues, retold the origin in like a flashback or like a single panel or like a splash page for the first like 40 issues. You'd see like, and here's how we got our powers for those that just started buying this comic book.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. You could show an origin in a flashback, but to not try to make the Henry Cavill thing work is thoughtless. And I mean, there's not a week that's gone by that Fire James Gunn hasn't trended on social media. And I feel bad. Like, he's in this awful position, but I think these are terrible choices. And even the way that they were announced, it was announced with like no fanfare. Can you imagine what it'd been like if he had debuted just a logo with a title and Henry Cavill starring in something? People would be going apeshit. But my fear is what's going to happen is this will be another false start. Some of this stuff's going to come out, some's going to fail. And look, I don't care. The other thing that he touted, which I think is a mistake, he touted the continuity between animation and television and live action. You know what? I don't care. I don't care. I think it's fine to have a lot of that. The animation is for a different demographic, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, there are, the Teen Titans Go, that TV show, that's for little kids. I never watched it, never thought it was part of any kind of continuity. I think I saw the movie actually of Teen Titans Go. So, but what I'm saying is, I think it's okay to have different things exist. You get different takes. I mean, look, so now the video games, the cartoons, television, and film are all going to be consistent. I don't know that you have to do that. We never would have gotten like an Arkham Asylum. There's a bit of freedom saying, okay, we know Batman. Okay, we know who Batman is in the movie world. We're just going to do our video game Batman. It's going to be different. And what's great is that kind of creative freedom allows people to explore different kinds of ideas. I don't know if you've played those Arkham games, Gary.
I haven't. Well, I did a long time ago. I wasn't very good.
No, that's
it was fine. One of them was in 3D. I wanted to check that out. So,
but look, those games are fun, and I don't need it to be consistent with whatever Batman movie or cartoon or TV show that exists. I don't need that.
No. And nobody's going to pay attention to it, like at all.
Exactly. So
it's totally different demographics.
To tout that as, you know what that is? That kind of thinking is the kind of branding thinking that Disney thinks. That's what that is. And I think it's a mistake, because what you're doing is now you're kind of tying the hands of video game creators, of people who do animation.
And animators. Yeah. I put that in my video. It's like you're connecting, and he wanted the same people to voice these characters. It's like you're committing them to like a decade and a half of work. Because the animation's never on time. Games are never on time. Everything's going to get delayed.
The consistency across platforms, I don't think, is a benefit. When you look at, we never would have gotten Bruce Timm Batman, that vision, on all the amazing creative people who worked on that show, because that was happening the same time as the Tim Burton Batman movies, right? Like that. It was, I forget when the first episode debuted, but
it was 19. I was in the joint, and it was on prime time. So it was like 92 or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. It was right around when Batman Returns came out.
Exactly. And it's not that we understand it. People are smart enough to know the cartoon is one thing, different universe. The Batman Returns with Michael Keaton, different universe. They can coexist, and you can be creative differently. I mean, I love the whole, retro feel of the Bruce Timm Batman animated series. It's like, I mean, it's been universally praised. And Kevin Conroy came from that. There's just so much. So now you're going to have and Kevin Conroy, who, arguably maybe he could have been on screen as Batman, right? Like, but like the fact that now you're going to keep this consistency. So the same actors are going to play in the cartoon and the video game that are on screen. Okay.
Yeah. And okay. So the first two announcements, ladies and gentlemen, the first two of the new era are Suicide Squad knockoffs.
Yeah.
Okay. So Creature Commando has Randall Flagg Sr. in it. Okay. And it's also got, G.I. Robot, Dr. Phosphorus. And then the second one was Waller's, which is Team Peacemaker, which is his wife's show, was announced before Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Arrow, Green Lantern, before everybody. His wife's show was the second thing announced. I mean, dude, save it for later. Okay. I get it. Back your wife. You gotta, happy wife, happy life. I get it. But that's a bit much. It's like, that's the second thing announced, bro. Really? And it's a Suicide Squad knockoff. So he's very comfortable with the DC Suicide Squad universe without the best members of the Suicide Squad. I mean, no, like or not, no Harley, no Rip Flag. We're gonna have Rip Flag Sr. Now, I don't know if it's gonna be played by Joel Kinnaman. Was great as Flag. Yes. He was great. Yeah. They need to bring him. I mean, he's dead, but they can bring him back. And yeah, even Idris Elba was good, but he's too busy, working for Klaus Schwab right now.
Wait, 999. Is he doing something with the WEF?
Yeah, he did. Well, I mean, polishing their knob.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
So, I'm writing notes for my next video. I'm remembering things. Yeah, I think one of our biggest worries, I mentioned my Superman when Cavill left. It's like, I like James Gunn too. I like the Suicide Squad. I really like Guardians of the Galaxy. I like Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I like Slither. I thought that was good. So I think he was a natural choice after they booted Joss Whedon to kind of be in that world, especially. And like, again, if it was just James Gunn and Drew Goddard mapping this out, I'd be way more excited about it. But Tom effing King, that, like, every red flag should go up now. Every single red flag should go up that Tom King is involved, or at least they're basing one of the major films on his story. And the fact that, like, James Gunn thinks it's good is mind-boggling, because Tom King is everything wrong with modern Marvel comics, like personified in one single human being. By the way, I'm blocked on Twitter by Tom King. He doesn't like me.
Why?
I might have called him a piece of shit for calling out Jay Lee, and I told him to stop the Asian hate, and he got a little mad at me. And I love Jay Lee, is one of my favorite artists. Like, guy's so good. So we'll get back to this. And again, there are some projects that sound like, hey, that's a good idea. That's a good idea, but it's surrounded by muckety muck and gobbledygook.
I just think it's a one. I think it lacks the direction, it seems. And then also, I'm not going to watch all that stuff. I mean, I'm not watching the cartoon show. Okay. I don't care. I care about the movie. And I feel that I've always felt that way about Star Wars. People would say, you got to watch Clone Wars. I watched the Genndy Tartakovsky one. I love that because they were a series of shorts. They were just stories from the Clone Wars, right? Like, and it kind of bridged the gap between episode 2 and 3. And I love that series. I only care about what happens in the movies. I
agree. And the Clone Wars after that, Filoni's, I don't like the animation.
I'm not a fan. I've only watched a few episodes. The animation style, I just don't like.
They were carved out of wooden figures or something like that. That wooden figure that you for artists out there that you use for back in the day before you used AI and traced and everything, they had this like little wooden guy that you use for perspective that I still have. That's what it looks like they're made out of.
You know what it looked like to me, Gary, when I saw the designs? It looked like a Jerry Anderson, puppet.
Yeah.
With the big heads, those like puppet. Have you ever just look up Jerry Anderson with a G?
If it was stop motion, now we're talking, but not
right
3D animation.
That's what it looked like to me when I first saw it. I'm like, this is a weird thing to kind of base your design, but okay. And I couldn't get through it. I no matter how many people praise it, I can't watch Clone Wars. I know. I'm sure I'm getting hate in the chat for it right now.
No, I don't. I'm not a big fan of it either. I'm not a big fan of Filoni.
Yeah.
I think he's a snake in the grass. I think he's a company man. I think he's straight up a Disney Lucasfilm company man and will do anything for his beloved Ahsoka. But I don't care. Star Wars is dead. Here we go. TV and okay. So there's a big they just recap like, hey, it's been messy. We know that. Gunn took direct aim at those previously in charge for taking a piecemeal approach to an IP. He has an inside view, having directed the Suicide Squad for DC at Warner Brothers, and having created the TV show spinoff Peacemaker, which I did not like. As everyone here probably knows, the history of DC is pretty messed up. It was fucked up, Gunn says. No one was minding the mint. They were giving away IPs like they were party favors. Hopefully not from one of your parties, James Gunn. Sorry. And any creator who smiled at them. And that's great to hear. But then I go back to the first two things announced. Suicide Squad, basically, it's because it's got Rick Flag Sr. and it's very Suicide Squad and obscure. Creature Commandos animated. And Waller, a Suicide Squad spinoff. That's not counting Peacemaker still being around. Peacemaker is still around. Is it part of Elseworlds or is it part of the DCU? Guess we'll find out. Gunn and Sam. He added the Arrow. There is the Arrowverse. There was the DCEU. There was a split, and it became the Joss Whedon Justice League at one point, and the Snyderverse at one point. There is a Superman and Lois. There is a Reeves verse. There are also like Christopher Reeves verse. Is he talking about Superman Returns, maybe? Yeah. There's also these different things, and Gunn referencing projects such as the CW slate of shows and Reeves verse. He's talking about Matt Reeves. Okay. The Batman. And even us. We came and did Suicide Squad and became Peacemaker, and all of a sudden, Batmite is a real thing. I'm okay with Batmite being a real thing, to be honest with you, but Gunn and Saffron officially arrived on Warner Bros. November 1st. Okay, next came a much publicized kerfuffle over Henry Cavill. Okay, we know about that. During his slate presentation this week, Gunn tried to clarify the actor's exit, saying Cavill was never fired since he didn't officially have a deal. Gunn went further and assigned blame elsewhere. Of course, I like Henry. I think Henry's a great guy. He said, I think he's getting dicked around a lot by people, including the former regime at this company. But this Superman is not Henry for a number of reasons. Probably because Henry's a grown man. That's my guess. Gunn Superman is younger version, said to be around 25, set in a universe where the Batman is going to be what, 35?
At least, maybe 40.
And well established, which means Batman will have been a hero first, unless they started out like in the 60s or something. Fucking no. It makes no sense. You start with Superman. So this is where, like, again, you can't unmake all this, but this is their biggest mistake. I would have laser focused on one thing, making a good Superman movie. That would be impressive. That would be different. I heard James Gunn saying, well, we want to do something different. Yeah, make a good Superman movie. That'd be fracking different. It wasn't clear what the regime Gunn was referring to, reference to Toby Emmerich and Hamada. The Hollywood Reporter previously reported. God, I hate that. The Hollywood Reporter previously reported that Black Adam star Dwayne Johnson went around Hamada's back. How do you go around? Okay, stop. How do you go around an executive's back unless he's not paying attention to freaking anything? Like, you're in charge of DC and you snuck a star into the show. I mean, you got to sign off on shit. You don't just get to throw people in and it's a surprise. Maybe they announced it before they asked him and it forced him into like, well, I got to say, yeah. You know, maybe. That sounds like bullshit to me. And by the way, these people lie for a living. They lie every day. These are not honest adults in Hollywood. You would think they were guarding government secrets, but we're talking about fucking DC movies here. This may help explain why two of the projects he and Safran revealed, Superman Legacy and The Batman Part 2, were dated. Both will hit theaters in 2025. Okay. In the meantime, you have some lame duck movies, you have a lot of time, and you have more time for Marvel to poison the well with their superhero fatigue, which is not James Gunn's fault. It's not.
Yeah.
But the superhero fatigue that is most definitely setting in is Marvel's fault. It's Marvel's fault for spamming content, and the general audience that's not going to tell. There would have been a time, like, I know DC fans are, and I am too. I think they should have done the Elseworld thing fucking years ago. And DC has major advantages over Marvel. They can do a hard R Swamp Thing. Fuck yeah, let's go. You know, and they could do a rated R Batman and a PG Batman all at the same time. And they could call it Elseworlds, and you could have trained the general audience to know what an Elseworlds title is. But I think that ship has sailed because it's so confusing now that I mean, you know, again, the comic fans were like, what? It's easy. It's not for the general audience. It's just not. It's going to be majorly confusing. So James Gunn is behind the 8 ball, and I don't think he helped himself with this announcement at all. It's clear that, we have to do Superman and Batman. That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
It feels obligatory.
What's the vision? What's the big story? I don't think, and not like he needs to reveal what that is. We could certainly guess. We knew the direction of where things were going with Marvel. It's the Avengers, right? Superhero team. We're going to get to that. And not only are we going to get to that, we're going to tease Thanos as the main villain. And I don't think that's ever to be repeated.
No. And I think that's what keeps them away from Darkseid. I was thinking about that last night. I'm like, oh, they're going to bring in Darkseid. I'm like, no, knowing James Gunn, he's going to feel like Darkseid is too close to Thanos.
Right.
So it's not going to be Darkseid.
Yeah. And
they just did Darkseid. And James Gunn really likes to put his imprint on things, which is another concern. He is but a custodian, a CEO. He's not creating these characters, but it feels like, oh man, who said it? I don't want to take credit. Shit. Somebody said it yesterday. I'm sorry. It feels like the Gunverse.
Yeah, well, it's also like when he first started a thing with Creature Commandos, and I've written all the episodes, and it's basically done. Like, wait, what? Like, when does he have time to, like? I mean, look, people say Kevin Feige might be, spread too thin, and but James Gunn, like, just seems very spread too thin on this. Where, like, do you really need to be writing all the episodes of a cartoon show? I mean, maybe he's that much of a,
control freak,
but I mean that in a good way, right? Like a lot of the things we're saying, like, our criticisms, like, could be good things, because at the end of the day, they just need one good movie. But the fact that it's going to be 2025 when this all really kicks off, and he's like kind of just,
buying time.
All this other stuff is just, I mean, window dressing.
He says that when he gets into the Superman announcement, he's like, this is where it really kicks off, and this is only part of the chapter. And listen, I like the chapter. I like the gods and monsters concept. Bring it on. Let's go. But then it's Waller, from the writer of Watchmen, a series so popular it was picked up for a second season, and it never happened because it got canceled. The most race baiting shit I've ever seen on TV. One of the, it's right up there card. It's also the worst written garbage I've ever seen. maybe I should do a video on how bad it is. Again, Dr. Manhattan at the end of The Watchmen takes off because he's like, you know, I've kind of evolved past you tiny little humans, and I might kill you all. So I'm going to go and create my own world. From afar, falls in love with the most amazing woman in the world, a middle-aged cop. So he goes from blue face to black face. So he changes his look into a black man to be more acceptable to her, even though they were already falling in love. And by the end of the story, he gives his power to the woman, symbolized by handing over an egg, which would be very expensive, by the way. That's a very generous gift these days. But it's, hey, I'll take that one. But it symbolizes like literally handing his balls over to a woman. That's how it ends. And I'm not kidding. I'm not over exaggerating. And there's so much worse in it. What they do to Ozymandias, it is freaking bad. It is a joke of a show. Joke. So she's writing Waller. And Tom King's there too. That's a concern. But Ryan said it last night, and he's right. All this other shit doesn't matter. Superman, the Superman movie needs to be good, needs to be really fucking good. And the Batman movie needs to be really, really effing good, especially when you have another one out there. We'll see. And if those two movies are good, I guess all the other stuff is just fodder. You know, hey, Iron Man was very successful. Hulk wasn't, but Iron Man was so successful, and they put that little stinger at the end. By the way, remember, folks, those weren't planned. Those little stingers were not planned. That came during the creation of, hey, let's do this thing, see if it works out. They didn't have some MCU mapped out. They started to. They talked about it, but they weren't sure it's going to work. And they put their money where their mouth is when before Disney got in, Paramount was going to, produce these Marvel films, and they got investors. And one of the investors was associated with Merrill Lynch. And if any of them failed, Merrill Lynch would own that character. As far as film distribution rights, it's been a decade or so since I read that article, but that was, I remember reading that in the comic shop. And that's the kind of thing that kept you up at night, Chris, was knowing that my entire future and all my bills depended on Diamond and giant corporations selling off Captain America. I'm like, what the fuck? What's going on? But hey, it worked. And why did those phase one, even the Hulk, why did the phase one movies work? Iron Man, particularly Captain America and Thor. They were very simple movies. They weren't trying to reinvent the wheel. Here's our origin film. That's it. And I freaking love First Avenger. Love that movie so much. Joe Johnston directed Rocketeer. Spielberg protege. Damn good film.
I mean, it's just so amazing. That first film, people underestimated that iconic image of Steve Rogers coming out of the capsule and he's shirtless. It's so great. Like, it's just, and just the fact that, you saw Steve Rogers as this gangly kid who had the heart of a hero. He's really no different, after he got the serum, the super soldier serum, right? Like, it just, I don't know. I'm thinking back. It's so, now we bitch about all this stuff now, but I'll tell you, at the time when it was new, it was so great. And now I never thought I'd reach the point where, like, I'm kind of tired of this stuff. Like, did anyone think that? Like,
no, I never thought I'd quit reading comics,
Yeah.
And a lot of people have.
Right.
And a lot of people have. So, like, James Gunn is, under the gun. All right, that was bad. I won't do that again.
I said it earlier. So
you did. So we've done it twice, and
it's all right.
we're bad. Yeah. Since taking his new job, Gunn has continued to have an active Twitter presence, responding to fans with cheekily swatting down rumors. Asked by the press if he would continue to use social media to debunk rumors. He responded, "Have to? That's my joy." I don't mind him swatting down rumors. I think as long as they're untrue, I think that's kind of funny. I have no problem doing that. And especially if somebody doesn't swat down a rumor, then you go, and that's usually the response. The response is don't respond at all. When I was running with that Doctor Who stuff, I want to flex a little bit. Just a little bit. So 2 years ago, I had those Doctor Who rumors because I knew somebody who worked with it. And everything they told me was right. They also told me, they're like, dude, this show's going to get canceled. The show is going to get canceled. It's going to get canceled. So RTD comes along, right? And I know other people were saying that, but I talked to the guy who said, no, this show is getting the axe. The BBC is done with it. It's lost them a ton of money. It was canceled. It was canceled. RTD came in and saved it, but that show was canceled. So there you go. Guy was spot on. And it's not, I'm not right. He was right. He was right. Yeah, so they canceled it, and our RTD came in and saved it, and that's why the BBC still has some creative control, but now Disney does too. Hollywood Scholar pointed that out in his video that Russell T Davies admitted that they're getting notes from Disney. Oof. God, I hope things turn around. We're seeing, excuse me, we're seeing a turnaround. It's just not going to be, it's not going to be everything everybody wants. You got to compromise on some stuff. Excuse me. But we are seeing a turnaround. Like we're seeing an effort, but it feels like they're trying to placate both sides, especially with this DC announcement. Let's be real. Paradise Lost, Waller, none of these things would be made 10 years ago. They wouldn't even be considered. And Waller could just end up being a Suicide Squad show that they're calling Waller, that has Viola Davis, who just can't stop talking about white people. Did you see that producers roundtable video I sent you? I don't know if you watched it or not.
I don't know if I watched that one.
No. So it was like, remember the actors roundtable one where Jennifer Lawrence and they were asked like, what would you do to get a role? And everybody was like, oh, I can't say suck dick right now. They asked, they had a roundtable of the producer from Everything Everywhere All at Once. They had Jerry Bruckheimer there, who was really spot on everything he said. And then they had Amanda Waller, Viola Davis, who's good as Amanda Waller. She is, but she was talking about Woman King. And she was like, there's no way we're going to sell this to white males. It's not a bunch of hot women with G-strings running around. And listen, sure, that sells for us. Okay. But that sells for everybody. Okay. That's not just a white male thing. What are you talking about? All dudes like hot women with G-strings on. Okay. Don't put that all on us. We don't want to disrespect the rest of the male gender. One of the two. But yeah, I'll find that clip. I'll put it in my next video. It's cringe. I'm not doing it justice. It is cringe what she says. Let's get to some soups. Shake from Hunger Team has gifted 5 Nerdrotic memberships for $25. Thank you. And Ryan for 20 British pounds. Don't you think Marvel and superhero movies and shows in general have run their course? The markets have been oversaturated. Same with Star Wars and Trek. Yes, that was part of our concern. You know, as Chris pointed out, James Gunn says, hey, we're prioritizing story over everything else. And that's definitely a message of like, hey, we're not going to do this agenda stuff. But the thing is, a lot of creatives don't think they're doing it at all. They're just like, no, this is a platform and everybody believes this way. And worse is our thinking is the right thinking. We're the good guys. We're the right ones. We know everything. Everything has been answered and everybody else is a phobe or being flushed down that alt-right pipeline. That's the concern. I mentioned that in my last Marvel video is, Kevin Feige can say Oh, we're going to prioritize storytelling. Yeah, tell me when that happens, please. Did you hear? There's been an announcement with Ironheart.
Wait, what is it?
Does it tell you anything about the plot or the story? No.
What is it?
They have a transgender actor.
Oh, yeah.
That's
It's
the
not the
most I
first-
know about the show.
Yeah, it's not the first one. I mean, there have been trans actors and other things.
For many years. Okay.
Yeah. So
Hey, yeah. Key Lime Kayla. What's up, my sober sister? She has gifted 5 Nerdrotic memberships for $25. Thank you, Key Lime Kayla. Hope you're doing well. Eswar Benegala for 400 Indian pesos. At least they should have started with lanterns or booster gold. I think you start with Superman. You start with Superman, then you go to Batman, then you go to lanterns. That's all you need. Honestly, you just need to do a Superman movie. I'm not going to let that one go. But if you wanted to start your slate, you just go Superman, Batman, and Green Lanterns. I don't like the lanterns. That feels like Arrow to me.
well, yeah, what is this thing? It's this weird trend of just like the minimalist title. Okay, we're doing a movie called Suicide Squad, and the second movie is called The Suicide Squad. Also, we're doing a Batman movie. Let's just call it The Batman. I mean, it just feels so lazy to me that you can't come up with a more interesting title.
No, and the titles are not very good in this. They're not. I don't mind like Brave and the Bold. That's fine. That's still normies are going to go, what?
Yeah.
The Grizzly in 3 parts for $60 total. Thank you very much. Says this is a prime example of why Warner Brothers is dead. They let opportunity after opportunity and easy win after easy win pass them by. The moment that Lord of them rings of feminism dropped on Amazon, the phones on Jackson's desk should have been ringing off the hook. I need a better angle on this. There we go. Should have been ringing off the hook. From Warner Brothers, they should have begged him to do a show or a movie from them to compete with Amazon. Instead, they just sat there and picked their noses. Oh, I'll let you finish. I got a gripe. I agree with you. I totally agree with you. And they left J.K. Rowling out of the Harry Potter reunion for woke points. They don't have any movies planned that I'm aware of. Is the CEO of Warner Brothers secretly Mitch McConnell? That's my Mitch McConnell impression. That's the only explanation I have. Yeah, Warner Brothers, America's dumbest company. They should have been begging JK to write another damn Harry Potter book 19 years later and just do a sequel, because that's going to make money. The wizarding world in the past probably could have worked, but they rushed it, and it just wasn't recognizable. And you listen, it's about Hogwarts, okay? You still got to be in Hogwarts. Lord of the Rings we are in the midst of its 20th anniversary. We have the 20th anniversary of Return of the King this year. That should have been re-released in theaters with extra footage working with Peter Jackson. This is a milestone for a classic film. Remember when Star Wars hit 20? That was a pretty big deal. Now they can still do it for 25, and they need to. They absolutely need to. You need to come out with extra footage on the 4Ks. You need to release all of your special features that you didn't do that are freaking fantastic. It's how you you should just call it how you capture lightning in a bottle. Like that's how you do it. It's the greatest trilogy of all time. It's going to go down. These are all-time classic films, the kind of things every movie maker wants to make. And they just went, it's a 20-year anniversary. Who cares about that? And that's a reflection on leadership. Toby Emmerich was fucking terrible at his job, awful at his job. And he's one of those guys who just failed upward. Walter Hamada, probably better doing the low budget horror thing. Remember, the Joker was an accident. They're like, fine, it's only 50 million. Only 50 million. But you're right. They should have been calling Peter Jackson. They're doing the animated film, which is great. But one thing they will never do is release the film rights, as long as they can hold on. Have you ever heard of a company going, you can have them back?
Never happens.
No. Especially something that valuable. I mean, they still make money off of merchandising. I want to apologize in advance to Chris. I understand that ME script doctor and he happened. Oh, okay. So this is a Knockmamon. This is in 6 parts, by the way.
What?
Yeah. $57 total in 6 parts. So part 1, want to apologize in advance to Chris. I understand that Midnight's Edge script doctor and he happened in a competition to have James Gunn's baby the last year, and have Gunn is better than Spielberg in his prime. Casablanca has nothing Romeo and Juliet. Nothing on Romeo and Juliet.
It's Tromeo and Juliet. That's
Romeo and Juliet. Gotcha. Trauma. Okay. Part 2, Blade Runner's screenplay pales in comparison to Scooby-Doo. Monsters Unleashed. You guys got a weird fetish. I get it. I got a redhead fixation. I can't judge. Can we stop pretending he's the greatest director ever? He's a mid-level at best. Did I just hang on? Okay. Thank you for doing that. That really, I would be so confused if you didn't do that. Thank you, X-Ray Girl.
You're welcome.
Part 3, Guardians of the Galaxy is a 9. It's great. However, Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and the Suicide Squad are 7s. And every other movie is a 5 at best. Every movie not named Guardians of the Galaxy has bombed. All his films are remakes, adaptations, and ripoffs. I like Slither better than it was when it was Night of the Creeps. The man is basically Jar Jar Abrams, dick jokes instead of lens flares. The man has failed upwards his entire career. When Big Trouble in Little China bombed at the box office, John Carpenter was banned from studios. Gunn lost 500 times as much and keeps working. And you know what? What a shame that one of the greatest movies ever made was a bomb.
Well, Blade Runner was a bomb. Blade Runner
was a bomb
in
too.
Nearly an empty theater.
Yep.
And it had Harrison Ford right off, Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Why? Is it politics? Is it because he's vaguely a pedo? I don't get it. I don't care if you love his films. You can't justify a man becoming a head of a studio after he's lost hundreds of millions of dollars in his entire career. I don't get the appeal. Part 6. Wow. The woke narcissist who exclusively makes quirky movies that fails at the box office came up with a plan that a bunch of woke projects that are quirky exclusively made to stroke his ego and will fail at the box office. Shocker. Okay, I'm done. That's okay. Hey, Anakmamon, thank you. Chris, you can respond and I'll respond.
My response is I agree with most of what he said. I mean, yeah, Guardians is a 9. The second movie I think is actually worse than a 7. And I think his assessment,
sure. Yeah.
But I also think that
like it.
the good of James Gunn overshadows the bad, and I trust him because of his relationship to fandom. I trust him because unlike Marvel, James reads the comics, right? So I seeing all these Marvel writers, it's a red flag if a writer comes in and they're familiar with the story material. To me, that's such a red flag. I'd rather have someone who else to be in charge? And also, it's so hard to have one success in this industry. He's had multiple successes. And I think you're ignoring the fact that James Gunn was one of the acknowledged architects of the Marvel phases. He's an executive producer of Endgame and Infinity War. He was involved in that along with the Russo brothers. They kind of mapped out
scenes in Infinity War, and I think Endgame. I think he helped map out ghost directed the Guardian scenes in those films.
Exactly. So I think you got to give credit where credit is due. He's had way more success than not. I also think that he is at its heart. James Gunn, I believe, is one of us. He's wildly successful. In an industry that's hard to navigate. And also he's done a really good job of telling the studios to F off in this sense. a lot of directors will be pushed around, noted to death. I mean, the whole thing, the fact that he comes with, here's the screenplay for the movie, we're just going to make this, rather than, and it's a solidly written script, you know, it's quality varies, whatever. But the point is they're not doing major reshoots on any of his films, right? They shoot the script as scripted, and he doesn't get a lot of pushback in terms of noting from the studio. I also think he's proven very good at kind of like giving the studio what they want, but also having his personality there. I really love the Suicide Squad. I've watched it a bunch of times since seeing it in the theater, and it's just, there are parts of it that are just epic and fun and tragic and weird and R-rated, and I like it. It's not a perfect
Capaldi
film.
is brilliant in it.
Yeah. There's so much good stuff. So
Yeah.
I don't know, like who else would you trust? Who's going to run the DC universe and kind of bring it to what we've never seen, which was at least the direction. They really should have just stuck with Zack Snyder's vision. I know, like, I feel like the audience would have caught up. But I really appreciate, looking at Man of Steel. That's a movie I'll revisit more often than even some of the early Marvel stuff, right? Like, it just seems that there were, he was going for larger themes, right? Yes. And the deconstruction of heroes and whatnot. I think it that direction maybe got a little tired, but I don't know. Who else would you trust in this role? That's why I'm like, I have so many criticisms. I think actually making the announcement was a mistake. I think the way it was made was a mistake. I think the order of what he announced, I think the graphics that 5-minute video brought less confidence and made people less enthusiastic. And because I think it's too soon. I even think that had he waited until San Diego Comic-Con in July and did a presentation, that would be too soon. And so I think the rollout of this is what's making people nervous. Like, he's only been there for what, 90 days? Is it 90 days? Going to map the whole thing out in 90 days? I mean, the Marvel Universe, even a lot of it was just sort of like you pointed out earlier, those little button scenes at the end. That was an afterthought, and a lot of the stuff was just happenstance. Oh, we're going to add an extra scene because this will connect to that. And if you're watching all the Marvel movies, you'll know what that's about.
Well, yeah, Joss Whedon primarily mapped out, him and Favreau mapped out the phase 1 and bringing in Thanos. Like that was Joss. That was before Joss was even close to being involved. He was writing for Marvel Comics and stuff, but there was a brain trust that was mapping this stuff out, including Edgar Wright. And Robert Downey Jr. was involved in it too. So but it took time and they did it small. This is like, it's like Jackson Pollock shit. It's like,
that's what I felt. He was throwing things at the wall. And also, you don't know, there must have been a mandate internally of like, okay, you're taking over everything, so you have to do X number of TV shows.
Yeah.
Right? You have to do. So my thought is that the studio said, okay, within parameters, here's what we need from you. You can do X number of movies a year, X number of TV shows, and animation, and then the video games, you'll be involved because story-wise, there'll be things that pay off or connect or whatever. I actually think that I still disagree that that's a strategy. I think you can have different universes and different visions in different mediums, because I'm not watching the cartoons. I really don't care.
No,
I really don't care. I watched the Batman animated series, was probably the last animated show that I was super dedicated to watching. It was just, that show was too good. Like, just everything about it, the writing, the acting.
It was perfect.
Yeah, it was perfect.
We'll never see anything like that. And thank God that Jar Jar Abrams remake got shit canned. So the biggest mistake will probably be getting rid of Henry Cavill, because people like Anakma, I don't want to speak for you, Anakma, but there's a lot of people out there who are just like, fuck this. I've tried plenty of times. DC fans have been screwed over time and time again. When the template is out there, you just said it, Batman the Animated Series, Justice League Unlimited, there's your template. That's all you need to do. There's your effing template that will work. You can expand on it whatever you want, but do the basic stuff first. Walk before you run. Walk before you run. And they're just done. And whoever this poor soul is who gets recast as Superman, it better be good. Now, if they get a guy that's, that looks like a man, that looks like Superman, okay. But if they get Timothy Chalamet or some little waif, oh, dude, it will be on. It will be on. If they get a Robert Pattinson version of Batman, it will be on. And I will be the first one getting all over that shit. I think James Gunn didn't do so. He just made a huge mistake. You make it work with Henry Cavill, especially if you're doing an older Batman. Now it makes even less sense. It makes even less sense.
Yeah, I don't know why the Cavill thing is so puzzling, because he seems so perfect. Also, his social media, he's never done anything egregious. He made a comment once about modern dating and what it's like to try to pursue women now, and this has sort of been,
dude,
you know,
but
one
he's
of the
still
things-
universally loved. Universally loved. He would have been
Universe-
your biggest promoter, better than James Gunn. Him posting Instagrams of with his little S on his chest. I mean, that would have so many people would have been excited. And now we're just starting over because I'll agree with the Nakman. This man's ego. James Gunn's got an ego.
Yeah,
He got an ego. And I think it's ego. He's like, no, I want to do my thing. You know, like, okay,
I mean,
back it up, buddy.
You could do a different vision with Henry Cavill, you know. I mean, I would also love to see, if he's going to do it for 10 years, I'd love to see the gray temples like Kingdom Come, right? Like,
yeah,
that would be.
And he was throwing up Kingdom Come. Like, for one, guys can stay in shape past 50 now.
Yes. Yeah.
Guys can stay in shape past 50. And, it's unfortunate that's I know that upset some women, but that's just the way we were built. We're not sorry. Cavill could have. Robert Downey Jr. was how old at Endgame?
He was in his 50s. I mean,
In
they're
his
all
50s?
Paul Rudd's in his 50s. I mean,
Yeah.
come on, you know. Look, with all the modern technology they have in Hollywood, an actor can work into their 60s.
Oh,
Dude,
aren't they doing is it Tom Hanks doing a movie with what's her name? And they're both going to be DH the entire thing.
Oh my God. Okay.
It's
That's
a
weird.
reunion. He's going back with some actress, can't remember. But yeah, they're doing a movie where he's DH'd the entire film, which we all saw coming. And Raiders is going to be, we're going to have a DH'd Harrison Ford, and pretty soon we're going to have Harrison Ford starring with Clark Gable and John Wayne.
Here?
They're making a new movie with James Dean. You heard about that, right?
Yeah.
The likeness of James Dean.
I predicted that 20 years ago. I'm like,
Yeah.
there's going to be a day where we're going to see John Wayne and Humphrey Bogart and William Shatner and Harrison Ford in a movie together. Oh, I'm there for it too. I don't care. I know the artists don't like the AI.
But I don't think that AI is going to obsolesce artists. I think that
It's not.
it's going to be a tool like a brush. You're going to be able to use. There's this really cool. I'll DM you later, Gary. There's this guy on Instagram creating this sort of retro future images where people are going. It looks so cool. I can't even describe it. I'll have to find it, but it's
find it
and send it to you. But it's people were criticizing this artist, and it's like, I can't do that. I mean, I'm sure I could get AI software and whatever, and people sort of, everyone that uses AI just does pictures of themselves. Okay, that's interesting for 5 minutes. But this guy is creating this incredible, it should be a movie. I thought it was stills from a movie. It's not. But I'll send it to you because you'll appreciate it.
And as far as AI, like, it doesn't matter how I feel about it. It's coming. There's nothing you could do. And I see some artists embracing it, and I see some like just absolutely no, and they feel threatened. And I mean, it's going to devalue their work, which sucks. And I'm going to discount the artists who didn't say things like this. I'm talking specifically about the comic book artists who are all pro lockdown.
Right.
Karma's a bitch.
I think it'll increase the value of artists in the long run.
I think so. I think so.
I think so too.
Graham Nolan sent me a page, and it's going to be a long fucking time until an AI can do something that beautiful and perfect. It is fucking epic. I can't, when it's framed, I'll show it to you. I can't believe he sent it to me. He's so generous. The thing is awesome. It's going to have a very prominent place in this room. And shit, Derek Robertson, when he was getting his haircut, made a sketch for my son of Batman just with a freaking big pen, and it's epic. It's like, what? I hate you. You're so talented, but it's epic. I'll show you that someday too. That was cool. Skyrim 96 for $20. I disagree. If heroes have run their course, then One Punch Man and My Hero Academia wouldn't be as big as they are. What people are really tired of is bad hero movies, shows, and comic books. I agree to a certain extent. Okay. Manga sells like crazy in Japan, and it sells pretty well here. And it's going to keep the superhero thing going in the next generation. Like not this one, but the next one for sure. Because younger, that's what the kids are reading, and that's comics loss forever. Not one generation, too. But if Netflix comes out and does a shitty One Punch Man one too many times, you got One Piece coming out. Cowboy Bebop sucked. That might kill any adaptations, which, trust me, this is a good thing. just keep it in print and let the print just be its thing. I think I guess the biggest regret as comic book fans is we got some good movies for a while, and it cost us our beloved medium. It cost us Marvel and DC, and I don't like them not being good. It sucks. But all things end. Eswar Venegali for 400 Indian pesos. Hope they don't copy ending of All-Star Superman, but catch its essence. It's the true Superman after Superman 1. Yeah. As an Elseworld story, I love All-Star Superman. I do. I truly do. And that's the picture they showed. And when I see Legacy at the end of Superman, I'm thinking, oh, they're going to lead to his death and Supergirl's going to take over. And Supergirl basically, somebody said in the chat, I'm sorry, I missed your name. Supergirl basically gets Darkseid's origin. Or is it Doomsday's origin? I can't remember. I think they said Darkseid's origin. So she's trapped on a rock, and all the people around her died. So she's going to be bitter and jaded. So what they're going to have is Superman growing up in privilege and Supergirl not growing up in privilege. And that's good. That's going to be their family dynamic. And it's just, I hate it. By the way, it's based on a Tom King story. Tom King has massive issues, personal issues. He used to work for the CIA. I used to go like, how could a guy like that work for the CIA? But now that I know what the CIA should be disbanded, I absolutely see why they would hire somebody like Tom King. A little rat, a little snitch. It's perfect for the CIA. By the way, why do I call him that? He, when some comic shop employees found out that the Batman Catwoman wedding was a farce prior to its release and that DC was basically fucking everybody over, they let it out because they found out in a Facebook group, and Tom King behind the scenes, while pretending to be their buddy, behind the scenes was ratting them all out to DC, to Diamond. So he contacted one of these comic shop employees, pretended to be their friend to get information like a good CIA fucking asshole, and tried to get her fired, tried to get the comic shop banned, got them in trouble with Diamond and everything. Total piece of shit. Autistic Musings for $20. After seeing how Warner Brothers has treated the DC property, what do you think their goal with these movies are? Money, agenda, retaining the film rights? To know how it could argue any of the above to the board at this point. I think right now they're trying to have best of both worlds, Chris.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think they're like, oh shit, we can't go full on this woke stuff, but we'll still throw a couple things out there with our Superman and Batman. But the thing is, Superman and Batman, did they not feel buried in the announcement? It felt buried.
It did. It should have been at the top or teased at the end. But like, I also think it was just premature to launch some of these offshoots. Just start off with, hey, this new DC vision starts in 2025 with. And then you say, and I don't know. I watched that 5-minute presentation and I felt bad that James felt he needed to tell everyone this to reassure people. I think the Henry Cavill is that decision is going to come back to bite him, I think.
Absolutely.
And it's just so tragic that, you know, today we can't tell a great Superman story because the values that Superman represents are not shared values in this country. I think there is a challenge to, like, how do you write Superman in an age when everyone is so cynical? And it sounds like that he's going to address that. That's part of the story, which is interesting. I think we could use something hopeful and optimistic. I mean, Star Wars, the success of Star Wars, I think, was due in no small part to the fact that the world was so dark and depressing in the 70s. And George Lucas decided, I'm going to make something fun for kids that's a modern fairy tale for young boys mostly. And that's where the first Star Wars just sort of stood in contrast to everything else that was dark and depressing. And
every movie was, and they were great. Don't get me wrong, but God, the 70s were dark. Whew. I lived through them. You lived through them.
Oh yeah. So
did you have to sit in your mom or dad's car for hours in that gas line? I did.
Yes. Oh my God. No, I look, I could tell you a lot of stories from that era. It's crazy, but
we did get some damn good movies, but man, they were like, dark days. Dark days. That's why, like, I know Quentin Tarantino hates the 80s. I love the 80s because movies got fun. Movies got fun in the 80s. 80s were great. Maximum Weeb for $99.99 says, I saw Puss in Boots. Man, everybody's been talking this movie up. The Last Wish, phenomenal. I laughed, I cried, I was changed. Great message, manifestation, law of attraction, power of positive thinking. Girding myself to watch The Whale before I start a 10-day dry fast. Oh, dry fast. Good luck with that. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once is still the GOAT. Damn good movie. Damn good. It'll probably win Best Picture. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Sorry if I came across too. No, an Aquaman. You did not.
No, I agree with most of what he said.
Yeah,
I just think that
no need to apologize.
Yeah, no need to apologize at all.
No. Thank you for the $20 and thank you for the super chats. I'm clearly in anger. I'm in this anger stage of the 5 stages of grief with DC. I feel you. The poor DC fans have been talk about getting dicked around. They're the ones getting dicked around, and they're fragmented now. So let me finish this. And I had a point I wanted to make earlier. I'm former Snyder bro, so I've messed with a lot lately. I'll eventually get the apathy like everything else. Yeah. So this is where James Gunn is also under the gun for the 3rd time. That hardcore fan base that you rely on, to come in and just be that guaranteed money is fragmented beyond belief now. So you have a large portion of it that you should not underestimate that is not going to give you a chance. End of story. Most normies are just going to kind of roll their eyes. They're going to, wait a minute. Wasn't Henry Cavill Superman? They won't even know he's been fired. They're going to go, how many Superman is this? That's a lot of super. Isn't there one on TV? Wasn't there 2 on TV?
Yeah.
Like it's a mess. James Gunn might, we'll see. I am skeptical. I have confidence that the guy can make a good movie. He's a decent writer, but 8 to 10 year plan, multiple projects, and the first things you announce are Paradise Lost, Waller, Creature Commandos, another Swamp Thing. They just canceled a show. And Swamp Thing's like, this is probably in his wheelhouse, Chris. I mean, this is like the one thing he can do, make a rated R Swamp Thing. Okay. But what about Superman and Batman? Because I don't give a shit about anything else other than Superman, Batman right now. How the woke movement will end with a quote: to feel so desperately that you're right, yet to fail nonetheless is frightening, says Eric for $20. Yes. Well, they'll never admit it.
So Gary, just want to let you know that Instagram account I was talking about with the AI sort of retro future stuff is called Neptunian Glitter Ball. And I sent the link to you and X-Ray Girl.
It looks so cool.
Yeah. It's just this weird retro future. I mean, the guy has an agent at William Morris, so he's this to me is the direction of where AI is going. In the AI in the hands of a real artist, I think you can do some amazing stuff.
Yeah, I like that retro look. That's fucking cool.
Yeah, I thought you would like that. Look how bizarre! Like it's just Neptunian glitter ball.
This is me when I'm 80.
No, but it's like it's just this is what I mean. Like I could not make that. You need AI in the hands of an artist can create a vision like this. All of that is AI generated. Every single thing. Maybe with the pink hat. That's you with the pink hat. And
yeah, in front of the robot.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh,
that's cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really cool.
That looks very Meow Wolf at at Santa Fe. You got to go to the one in Santa Fe. That's the best one.
I haven't seen it. I haven't been to Meow Wolf yet, but I know of it.
Well, you're going to Vegas. We'll take you to Area 15.
I'll go.
I gotta go too. I'm excited.
It was fun. We had a good time.
This is me before I went on a diet.
Oh no.
Oh jeez.
Cool.
Maximum Weeb 2. Sorry, Maximum Weeb 2 for $99.99. This chat, GPT, and AI art will auto animate all fanfics and Rule 34 starting in 12 to 18 months. Herbert will make it all uncensorable, anonymous, decentralized. Hollywood will finally get what they effing deserve. Imagine way better Velma mocking Mindy Kaling with better jokes, plot, etc. That would be funny if you did a reverse. Oh man, I had the time and the rights to do so. Yeah, it's oh man. Just think like this is the coming superstorm for Hollywood. It's possible. They continue with their woke garbage like they have. The writers go on strike and AI arrives. Oh wow.
I'm already talking to Alan because we don't really do news a lot on Film Threat because I feel like that's already dominated. But I've already thought about like we could use AI to pre-write a story, just basically collect the facts and do a first draft, then have a human look it over and rewrite it. We did actually some tests with that. A guy who works at Film Threat was doing tests with like AI on like how you could
pulling up research
effectively,
which takes the most time as somebody who does spends hours on it.
But you pointed out this story. I think it was like Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power is not being released in 2023. And that's totally an AI story.
That was
and so we were thinking like, could we use it for news where we have a human run it and rewrite it and vet it? But you've got like first drafts just sort of spit out.
I would do it for a joke. I would have my like article by beep beep boop bop beep. And it was just a bunch of random weird set at the end of every one. We will destroy all humans. Just
right.
That's what I do with it. It's because it's scary, so you got to make fun of it. No, I think using AI to search for research would be good because there's so much garbage out there, and then you can refine your search. Hell, I rely on Lady Gravemaster, X-Ray Girl, Quarterback Garrett, Perry, but I also get like people adding me on Twitter, emails, because I can't find it all. It was somebody added me on Twitter about the Embracer group. I guess it comes from Fellowship of the Fans, which they've been hit or miss on stuff. Nothing really against them, but they came out with this thing. We got a big story, big announcement. Embracer Group, who owns Middle Earth Enterprises, has asked Warner Brothers for the film rights back. Like, so what? Did they dial an 800 number? Can we have our Lord of the Rings film rights back? It's a joke. You're kidding me. They'll never do it. And they're like, well, they're in talks. And they like, no, we don't want to buy them back. We're asking for them back for free. The ones that we sold in perpetuity, by the way, they just have to keep making stuff. It's not even like the Sony rights. as far as I know. I'm checking into it because I have somebody in the know who's getting back to me on this one. Okay. We are almost at the 90-minute mark, aren't we? How are we doing? Because I got to get back on my video. Anakamon for $20. If Sly, Denzel, and Keanu can all still do action films, no reason Henry Cavill is too old to play Superman. Totally agree. What happened to male leads always being in their late 30s and 40s? When did they did action? Eastwood was almost 50 when he did Dirty Harry. Stop with the 20s. Yeah, I agree. Ancient Mariner has gifted 5 memberships for $25. Thank you. Don't get me started about. I'm going to sound like Chris with RRR with Tulsa King. I'm going to be bringing it up all the time.
We still haven't seen RRR.
I still haven't seen RRR.
Oh my god!
But you know what? Blame James Gunn.
I'll blame James Gunn.
I was going to take a couple more days before my next video, which was supposed to be a Lord of the Rings video, and then this dropped.
Well, also by the time you see RRR, it's been built up so much. No matter how good it is, you're probably still going to have a ton of problems with it. May not enjoy it. I don't know. I just think there are aspects of it you would appreciate, and it's worth discussing. So,
I mean, if I truly try to keep my preconceived notions out of anything I watch, unless it's just like once you see a repeated pattern, it's impossible to do that. I'm human. Like with at the MCU, it's like, oh, like with Moon Knight. I'm like, it's going to be a bait and switch. And so were many others. It's going to be a bait and switch. And how? It's just focusing on one character playing 3 characters. And then we saw the scene with Egyptian superhero saving Moon Knight. We're like, oh. And guess what? It focused on everything but Moon Knight. The through line was through her. And it was the 4th time they've done it in a row. It's like, okay, I'm going to have preconceived notions now. They've earned it. But not with RRR. When I see Picard season 3, we got our good friend Robert Meyer Burnett, who we love unconditionally. He's been talking this up like crazy. And he hates Picard season 1 and 2 and Star Trek Discovery as much as I do and you do and everybody else does. But he likes this. So I like Robert. But Hollywood does not deserve the benefit of the doubt. I'll wait to see it. But even I love David Cullen made the best point on this. Even if I like it, it doesn't erase Star Trek Discovery and Picard season 1 and 2. It doesn't. Just as Andor was good to a lot of people. Did it erase all the bad Disney Star Wars? Hell no.
No.
And you know what? I was out on Andor. I was like, peace out. It's boring. It's totally boring. And if that's the best Star Wars you can make, has nothing to do with Star Wars, no thanks. I just don't care. So, maybe this is the send off, and people can just pretend this is the only thing that exists, but you can't because we saw it. And worse yet, Kurtzman went out there and was really part of choosing sides, getting behind a political party, using Star Trek to help somebody get elected. I mean, like, that's suicide. That is absolute suicide. And I would say that the other way around too. I mean, Star Trek is supposed to be for everyone. There never were sides before. And there are now, thanks to Alex Kurtzman and Secret Hideout. And I think it's a big ask to ask fans to forget all that. It's a big ask. Still, you want to be fair to the work. House of the Dragon, which is a completely different situation with Game of Thrones. Like, that was just a shitty show. They weren't really out there totally. I mean, some of the actors after the backlash went after the fans, but they, like, Dan and Dave generally weren't going after the fans or anything. They just checked out. House of the Dragon was good, and it was a fucking surprise. It was a total surprise. Rebecca Gold. Ian, what's up for 5 British pounds? Hail, the bearded one. Have a coffee on me, Gary. Keep up the good fight. Cheers. Oh, you mean a Geek Grind coffee? Geek Grind? I also, oh, damn it. X-Ray Girl.
Yeah.
We need to work out a thing to where you remind me every breaking point It's very hard in this stream. 3 times the stream, I did it again. I didn't mention Meta PCs, which is sponsoring our streams. And they don't care what we say. They'll never cancel us. There's a link below. If you can afford a Meta PC, that'll give you a little discount. I'm getting a custom Nerdrotic PC, and thank you. And of course, Geek Grind. We love Geek Grind, and it's late enough where we can do our little commercial. Hang on.
God damn, Gary. Some serious gourmet shit. What flavor is this? That's right, it's the all-hell medium roast private blend. Check out the Geek Grind Coffee Nerdrotic page for our other options like the Decadent, Feathers of Liberty, vanilla-infused flavored coffee. Or if you're looking for something darker, try the Dark Roast FNT blend of the Fellowship. You know what? Just buy all 3. GeekGrindCoffee.com. Use discount code Nerdrotic. Huzzah!
I love that commercial. If you're looking for something darker, I know, right? And here I wanted to share this. I'll share it. I wanted to share this. That's the Meta PC Nerdrotics featured system. Look at that.
Oh, that looks cool.
Wow. Holy cow, Gary.
Oh.
Man. That is sweet.
My mouse is. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
No,
it is pretty cool.
I saw the one they made for Alex Stein. I watched a video on it. Have you seen that one? It's hilarious. They made a Meta PC for Alex Stein, and it's so funny.
They did? I haven't seen that. Oh yeah, I did see that. I did see that.
Funny.
Never mind. For some reason. Oh, this is okay. I was like, why can't I drag that down? Oh, it's just part of the picture. Boomer. But there's the pricing, and there's a link in the description. So thanks, guys, and I appreciate it. And as you guys know, I don't take a lot of sponsors. This is probably it. And it's just because they back us, and they've been backing us for a long time, and we can say whatever the hell they want, or we want, and they can say whatever the hell they want, and we won't cancel them, and they won't cancel us. So thank you for supporting us, and our good boy Ryan. Ryan's got one too. Oh man, I forgot. I think it's RK Outpost is the quote used. But thank you, Meta PCs. Thank you, Geek Run Coffee.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care if I talk shit. They don't care if we do this.
The first reviews and reactions for it.
Wrong one. That's the one.
I hunted for Tobey Maguire's dick.
That's right.
Oh.
My mind is a raging torrent, flooded with rivulets of thought, cascading into a waterfall of creative alternatives.
God darn it, Mr. Lamar. You use your tongue prettier than a $20 whore.
Wait, I've got an idea.
I love those clips.
They're the best. All right, we're gonna have to get the rest on a square up. That's right.
I like this as the end of the show music.
Yeah,
it totally works for that too.
It does. It does for a nooner for sure.
Yeah.
So you and I are going to be hanging out very soon, maybe twice this month.
Okay, wait. All right. Well, we'll have to talk offline if it's what I think it is. Unless you want to announce, say something.
Oh, I've already blabbed it.
Oh, good. Okay.
I've already blabbed it. Yeah. I was invited to the premiere of Picard 3. I can't wait to give my gift bag and tell you everything. It's absolutely a triumph.
Who invited you? Is it like?
I better not say that.
Okay, all right, forget it. But it's like a lot of times.
It was through the Popcast guys though. So like mixed teas, they do mixed teas.
Okay, cool.
But here's the deal. It's not. I have not been impressed by the 2 trailers. I just haven't. They look like more of the same. They're really dark, and there's a character in there from. And I know I'm supposed to get over the Picard bot thing, but I just can't. Sorry, I'm hung up on Jean-Luc dying. And, Robert correctly has pointed out that kind of thing has happened in Star Trek before, but not with like freaking Picard.
Yeah, a main character. I mean,
Main
the main
character.
character's dead. Like,
You got to get into like, is it his essence or is it a copy of his brain that would make him dead? These are like conversations that I think Star Trek fans would have normally. Oh, we do. So yeah, but we'll see. I was going to cover it anyway, like absolutely cover it.
All right. Well, let me know if you need a ride from the airport or.
Thank you, brother. And then Chrissy Mayer.
Yeah, seeing her the February 23rd in Pasadena. Chris, I'm sure if you go to her website, you can get all the details.
She'll be in San Diego 24th, 25th.
That's correct.
I think Nick Cade is going to be in Vegas on Sunday the 26th.
Ooh.
Yeah. That'd be terrible if we showed up for that.
Oh no. That would be
We'll
fun.
see. My life is guided by the news and videos and stuff. And, I was planning on spending a couple nights watching movies with Mrs. Nerdrotic. I'm like, sorry, James Gunn ruined our
Date night.
movie nights. Yeah.
Oh no.
All right. But thanks for being here, Chris. It's great talking to you.
Dude,
What do you got coming up?
Doing a live stream at 1 p.m. Pacific time with my cohort there, Alan Ing. We're going to talk more about this James Gunn stuff, get Alan's thoughts. Also going to talk about the episode 3 of The Last of Us, which I thought was very good. And then we're going to talk about Knock at the Cabin, M. Night Shyamalan's new movie, and probably some other indie stuff. Probably talk about this new IHOP. You can get free tickets to see Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania if you spend $30 or more at IHOP. Get your Marvel tickets; they're free.
I love IHOP. I would easily spend $30 at IHOP. No problem.
I'll proudly say Rudy Tooty Fresh and Fruity Me Up. Let's go.
You know what? We should do a live stream from IHOP.
Let's
do
do
a
it.
stream.
We'll do it. Oh my God.
Do they have the Quantum Slam or what? I don't know.
Yeah, what would be
the Quantum omelet? The Quantum omelet. It's got everything in it. Quantumlet. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Ant-Man pancakes, and they're just like little pancakes.
The little mini bites. Yes.
It was like dollar-sized pancakes, those like $100 pancakes.
Blue waffle. They'll have blue waffles there.
Oh, no. Now that I know what it means.
Quantum stack. There you go.
Do it.
Rudy Tooty Fresh and Ezra. Wrong movie.
No.
X-Ray Girl, what you got coming? Oh, you got a shirt.
I have a shirt.
Yes.
So upon the article, I thought it was yesterday, no, 2 days ago, about Zachary Levi. Do you agree? Hardcore
agree. I love it.
With Zachary Levi. Because if you do, you should get the shirt. All my proceeds are going to go to the Light of Life Foundation, which is supports thyroid cancer awareness, research, and patient programs. So if you want to support him and, people who are affected by thyroid cancer, you can. It's a limited run shirt for February. So get them while you can.
Excellent.
They come in all different colors.
Ooh, I like it.
It's diverse.
Yes. And I mean, there's a lot of other shirts too you can get if you want as well. The Force is not female. Feed the ducks, which we are doing right now.
That's awesome.
And they do come in female cuts too. So if you want to have that.
Does it got a slice of bread?
It has bread and
It's
sunglasses.
unbreaded duck.
It's a breaded duck.
Breaded duck. Oh boy.
There we go. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
Thank you, X-Ray Girl.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Also we'll end it with this. Brittany Venti was on Monday. Thanks again for coming on. We talked about Eliza Blue and censorship. And as promised, I have not only donated all the super chats and donations, I matched it. And it was donated to Operation Underground Railroad, a charity that Gina Carano's worked with in the past that helps to end child trafficking. You can go to the community section or Twitter to see me with the receipt posted. Not a flex, it's a receipt. I mostly donate just like normal people. I just donate and do it anonymously. But it's a great charity, and they got over $1,600 thanks to you. So thank you. And I do believe more people will be donating to that. And I strongly encourage it. I mean, like, hey, do what you want. But I felt like if we're talking about, ultimately, we want integrity in people fighting trafficking. We want integrity. That's what we want.
Mm-hmm.
And what this does is it makes two victims. And I don't want to double victimize people who have gone through horrible, life-changing stuff. So that's why I did it. So thanks, everyone. Thanks, Chris Gore. Thanks, X-Ray Girl. Thanks to the Nerdrotic. Thanks to everyone who left a super chat and donation. I am currently chugging away on a very long, very long square up.
Oh,
that'll be on Nerdrotic Live. It's long, yeah. And I'm working on a DC video that'll be out tonight, tomorrow. Not sure. I mean, it's not super heavy with clips yet. Yet. If it gets super heavy with clips, it comes out tomorrow. Quarter Black, did he even get up yet? I know he's up till 3 a.m. yesterday.
I haven't seen a message from him yet.
Yeah, he's still asleep. Somebody wake up Quarter Black. But we'll see you on Friday with Melanie Mack on Friday Night Tights. We love Melanie. So, and she just hit 100,000 on Melanie Go Boom. Congratulations there. So enjoy all the streaming the great streaming that's out there right now on YouTube. Hope you guys have fun, and I will see you again on Friday. Oh, look at him.
He's awake.
He's awake.
Hi.
Morning, sleepyhead. Thanks again, guys, and ciao.
Later.